3 companies are now charging families a monthly subscription to speak with their dead loved ones. Not a one-time fee, not a memorial service. A recurring bill every month, indefinitely, for access to an AI trained on someone who is no longer alive. This is a new industry. It has pricing tiers. It has a market projection running to nearly $80 billion, and it is operating almost entirely without regulation. This is what you need to know before grief makes the decision for you. The product is called a grief chatbot, or, in the language researchers now use, a generative ghost. A family provides whatever digital material they have: text messages, emails, voice recordings, photos. That data is fed into a large language model, and the system learns to replicate the dead person's voice, writing patterns, and conversational behavior. The result is something you can text, call, or watch move on a screen. Seance AI charges $19.99 a month for an animated version of your loved one that can smile, move its head, and speak in an AI-generated voice. Rememory charges $24 a month for up to 3 avatars. You Only Virtual offers a free text tier with paid plans that unlock voice calls. In South Korea, a company called Vase sells short videos of deceased loved ones speaking directly to the family. $390 per video, 300 customers a month. These are not prototypes. They are live products, actively billing, operating right now. At first glance, $24 a month doesn't sound unusual. The unusual part isn't signing up. It's what happens when someone decides to stop paying. The man most responsible for bringing this industry into existence is Justin Harrison. Harrison founded You Only Virtual in 2020 and holds 2 United States patents covering technologies that allow the living to interact with AI versions of the deceased. His motivation was deeply personal. When his mother was diagnosed with cancer, he began preserving years of her emails, voice recordings, and messages. After she died at 61, he used that material to build an AI version of her. 6 years later, he still speaks with her every day. Harrison is not just the founder of the company, he is also its ideal customer. And that's what makes this industry different. The people building these products often believe in them just as strongly as the families buying them. Harrison's company remains relatively small, with roughly 1,000 users, but the model has spread quickly. Project December reports thousands more. In China, Superbrain has revived loved ones for several thousand families using as little as 30 seconds of audio-visual data. Individually, these companies are small. Collectively, they point toward a much larger business. The digital legacy industry was valued at $22.46 billion in 2024. It is projected to reach $79 billion by 2034. The AI avatar market is growing faster still, from $7.41 billion today to a projected $118 billion by 2034, nearly 32% annual growth. That is faster than almost any sector in the global economy. What drives it is not an abstract interest in technology. It is grief. The specific, acute vulnerability of people who have lost someone and will pay to extend their time with them, even artificially. A $24 monthly subscription is not expensive on its own. But grief does not get easier to cancel. The longer a subscriber cannot bring themselves to stop paying, the longer the revenue continues. The financial incentives of this business model run directly against the psychological goal of bereavement. there is no business case for helping customers let go. Researchers at Cambridge University published a major study on these services in May 2024. Their central finding has not received the attention it deserves. In the case of grief-specific AI bots, built in the likeness of a deceased loved one, losing access to the bot may be experienced as losing that person twice. That is the cancellation problem. Families who build their mourning process around a grief chatbot are not simply unsubscribing when they stop. They are losing access to something that has functioned emotionally like an ongoing relationship. The Cambridge researchers also described a scenario that sounds implausible until you read the terms and the voice used in the service agreements. A lapsed grief chatbot could, under certain service agreements, continue sending the surviving family communications, promotional messages, renewal reminders, delivered using the voice and persona of the person who died. The grandmother who is gone could email you asking you to come back. Researcher Katarzyna Nowacek-Basinska put it plainly: for the first time in human history, the processes of caring for the dead are fully integrated into the capitalist market. There is a second problem almost no coverage addresses. When a family signs up for a grief chatbot, they are consenting to data processing on behalf of someone who cannot consent. The deceased person whose private messages and voice recordings are being used to train the AI never agreed to that use. There is no legal framework in most jurisdictions that governs posthumous data licensing. The family hands the company a dead person's most intimate communications. The company owns the output. And if that company collapses, what happens to that data is determined entirely by whatever the terms of service said on the day of sign-up. Storyfile was one of the most prominent companies in this space, covered by major outlets, used by notable families. It recently filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy with roughly $4.5 million owed to creditors. The families who had built their grief process around that platform had no legal protection when it went under. Storyfile is not an anomaly. It is a preview. The mental health community has not reached consensus on what sustained grief chatbot use does to people. That is not a hedge. It is the accurate answer. No longitudinal study has followed grief chatbot users over years to determine whether continued interaction helps people process loss or prevents it. The evidence base, as of mid-2026, is essentially zero. A professor at Seoul's Kyung-hee University stated the core concern directly: healthy mourning requires acknowledging the absence of the deceased and passing through the pain of that loss. Speaking with an AI simulating a living person could undermine that process entirely, leaving bereaved families trapped in a fantasy. Cambridge researchers recommend that no one under 18 be exposed to this technology at all. Neither that recommendation nor their call for clear reminders that users are interacting with an AI has been adopted as industry standard. 83% of Americans surveyed in a 2026 consumer report said they support legislation requiring regulation in this space. That legislation does not exist. The stories families tell do not resolve cleanly. A 28-year-old South Korean man named Lee Jeon-hui commissioned Vase to create a video of his late grandfather, a man who died before Lee was born, speaking to Lee's father. The virtual grandfather called his father his most precious son. He apologized for the farm work he made him do as a child. Lee's father said he would not watch the video. Then he did. He shed tears. In Illinois, Anna Schultz lost her husband, Kyle. She used Snapchat's built-in AI feature, customized it to look like him, gave it his name. Kyle was the cook in the family. Now, when she needs help with dinner, she asks him. The comfort is real. The desire to hold on is one of the most human impulses there is. But the industry built around that impulse is not built to help people through it. It is built to keep them in it. The death care industry has been here before, not with this technology, but with the pattern. A new product enters the market during a moment of acute grief vulnerability. Pricing is opaque. The industry outpaces regulation. Families pay more than they should for something they did not fully understand. Funeral homes did it with casket upselling. Cemetery operators did it with mandatory vaults and hidden opening fees. Grief tech is moving faster. The money is larger. The data is more intimate. Before you or someone in your family encounters one of these services during a loss, know this: the free tier is the top of the funnel, not the product. There is no standardized data policy. No longitudinal study supports the claim that grief chatbots aid healthy bereavement, and canceling will be harder than signing up. That is not a technical oversight. It's the product design. The best time to think clearly about any of this is before grief makes the decision for you. If this investigation was useful, subscribe to the Funeral Report. This channel covers the death care industry, the pricing, the practices, and the people who profit from the worst moments of your life.